So you have advocated the return of the death penalty.
I haven't advocated the return of the death penalty. I've defended the death penalty. I long ago accepted that its return was culturally and politically impossible. Just in the same, I mean, I sometimes engage in arguments simply to show that what is considered to be conventional wisdom is rubbish. And the arguments for a serious death penalty imposed on certain types of heinous murder are unanswerable. And I've yet to come across anybody who can answer them. But the argument against is a sentimentality and an unwillingness to be serious about the defence of public peace, which is very common among politicians and among the public. It's fundamentally the abolition of the death penalty in Britain particularly was an escape from responsibility by the political class. They want to be paid, they want to sit in huge, great panelled offices surrounded by fawning civil servants, they want cars to carry them about the place as if they were truly men and women of power. But in fact, when confronted with real issues about defending people from evil and danger, they won't act. They're too scared to take the responsibility. They're unfit for the responsibility they seek and for the privileges they get in return, and it's just an example of it. And so as a result, defenseless, vulnerable people die needlessly at the hands of people who could have been deterred from doing the things that they do, and it's all the fault of weakness among politicians. But I don't believe that they will ever change that. I think if the death penalty comes back, it will come back in a form which I would have to oppose, without, for instance, unanimous juries, without the right of reprieve, without a free press, without all the things which make it tolerable. It would come back and I would have to be against it.
The most palatable to me argument against the death penalty has been not one from a moral standpoint of, that it's immoral for us to kill people anyway, but more...
Well, we don't believe that, do we? Because
no, we don't.
We kill people with drones abroad and the police quite frequently kill people with guns at home.
Yes,
but everybody's quite happy with that.
But it was more.
And indeed, we have a transport policy which guarantees to kill 3,000 odd innocent people every year, and everyone's quite happy with that.
The argument was basically there are clearly crimes which deserve death, but whether or not we trust the state with that power is another matter entirely.
I don't know what you mean. I mean, we have a state which we expect to maintain, for instance, an army, a navy, and an air force, which are kept at readiness to kill people, in defence of our national integrity and independence at any time. Though they're seldom used for this purpose now, and nobody says that this is in itself wrong, except absolute pacifists, whom I respect in this argument. Absolute pacifists can be against the death penalty. Completely, it would be entirely consistent, because absolute pacifists also have to accept that in a moment where another stronger country wishes to march into this country and take it over, then they would have to accept that.
Yes.
Just as absolute pacifists would have to accept that, faced in a country with a serious outbreak of uncontrollable homicide, which was undeterred by law, you would do nothing, or you would do something so ineffectual that it amounted to nothing, which is what we do. They're all right, they can do it because they are honest about the consequences of what they do. What I don't like are the kind of people who make speeches saying, we will get these terrorists, we will track them down, and then do nothing. Or these people who say, the time has come for Britain to stand up and do something about this disorder in our streets, and then do nothing. Those are the people I scorn.
Yes.
And anybody who affects to have any plan to protect the weak against the wicked, and then doesn't do it, as far as I'm concerned, they're contemptible. I don't mind people who are honest about saying, I can't do anything for you. Get lost. You can't expect anything from me. But if they pretend to be your defender and they aren't, and they take all those benefits of being in government, which is very serious business and which requires people to take very, very hard moral decisions, that's why you do it. Then if they take all those privileges and all that money and all that power, and they won't use it to defend the weak, then I'm afraid that is contemptible.
Okay, so for the last portion of the interview, I have some questions which have been submitted by members of my audience.
This is like Jeremy Corbyn's early attempts at Prime Minister's question time.
Which should
You're going to name the question.
So, yes, he did do rather well on the polls from that one, but that's not what it is. But it's more just to to denote that some of these are going to be...
Stan from Staley Bridge wants to know.
These are going to be quite... Some of these are going to be less serious, shall we say, but...
well, then, let's see how that goes.
We shall see how that goes. But I will start with the serious one. So, out of the context, was the British government justified in its actions to ban the Gaelic language, the wearing of tartan, and other key aspects to Scottish life after the Second Jacobite uprising?
No.
There we go. Let us presume that you are having a cup of tea and you've had 2 biscuits. Do you take a third?
Well, it would depend on how I'm feeling, really, wouldn't it?
I think. I will explain this question in detail to you afterwards. It depends how you're feeling. Very well.
Well, it's a line in one of those Bob Dylan songs, isn't it? It depends on how I am feeling. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't.
What
how
do you? The third biscuit. The third biscuit.
This is a concealed profundity here.
The third biscuit is immoral. I have to inform you, because unfortunately, it's an allegory for the guilt that one feels from being greedy, from overindulging. Do you watch the New Year's fireworks display?
No.
At all? Okay, I'll skip that question then. Given that all skimmed milk is, in your own words, wretched white water, which is an amazing phrase.
I wish it were mine, but I picked it up from somebody else. And the wretched may be mine, but the white water is quite commonly used, I think.
Given that it is wretched white water, do you prefer to drink whole milk or Jersey Gold Top?
If this is going to be one of those, what is it, sort of between, choose between brands things, I'm not actually playing that game. It's all the same to you. And my views on milk are a very small part of my life.
As expected. Apologise for forcing you to listen to it. And finally, sort of, how do you feel about being used as an allegory for the analysis of social decay in memes?
Well, I don't suppose there would be anything I could do about it if I objected to it, so there's not really much point in having opinions about that, is there?
Thank you very much, Peter.
It's been a sort of pleasure.
A sort of pleasure. It's better than being told to rot in hell. So
well, no, but that was on that occasion, the person I felt had obtained the interview by what seemed to me to be false pretenses, and also conducted an interview which was not really an interview but an attempt to gain a platform for his own opinions, and I didn't think that was legitimate, and I just felt that it was actually very rude, and just on occasion I feel like being rude back.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.